Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk Movie episode 8. Close to 10 episodes already. This is nuts. I didn't think I'd be doing it this long, but I plan to continue it. Understand? So, we got a lot to talk about today. We have 2 movies that we're going to be talking about, as well as some TV shows and a little bit of extra. So, let's start with the movies. Let's start with the bad one first, and then maybe we'll do some TV. Bring it in with a goodie. The Strangers, Chapter 2. I managed to watch it. By golly, I wish I was a stranger to the entire franchise, as I said in my review. The card is up here. Why does the CW keep deciding to make these movies? Well, I don't really know if it's all entirely the CW, but you have one of the biggest CW icons in the current climate, and that's Cheryl Blossom. Nothing against Cheryl Blossom. I understand the purpose of picking up a check, putting your all into it. But boy, is this movie bad. I thought The Strangers Chapter 1 was bad. Chapter 2 is worse. Chapter 2 is way worse. And I have to stay consistent. I have to be of the people. And I have to report for Chapter 3. Because yes, despite how utterly atrocious this chapter is, it's to be continued. I didn't even need this Chapter 2. But hey, you gotta give me Chapter 3, I guess. Why? Now, when Chapter 1 came out, and they said it was a bomb, I heard after that it was supposed to be on streaming after. Like Chapters 2 and 3 were going to be on streaming straight as they released. Like no theatrical, straight to stream. Evidently that didn't happen. I don't know how, because I don't know how people got more funding for this movie to keep coming. It baffles me because nothing groundbreaking happened here. The characters were the same. Nothing changed there. We got to learn a little bit about Tamra, but does it go anywhere? No. Why are you trying to feel and get to know the strangers? And they're not strangers anymore. The other characters that they had in this movie felt like with no substance. Why are they here then? Why was there an entire chase for like half an hour in a hospital? Why is Maya, the main character, why is she all of a sudden the next Sarah Connor with her covering up her wounds, her stealing cars, just acting like a total badass out of nowhere? Where was that energy in the last one? It's like, oh, now she's by herself, so now she's got to put the I'm like, what are we doing? The Strangers Chapter 2 was straight buns. I don't want to go on for very much of it. I'm just annoyed that Chapter 3 is coming. Like, why did you revisit the events of Chapter 1 when in the canonical timeline of this, it just happened yesterday? She's over here like, I miss you so much. As if there was a 20-year gap between Chapters 1 and 2. And maybe for the actors, maybe there were. Because let's think about it this way. Chapter 1 came out in 2024, okay? That's probably about 2023 that they were in production of it. And then I heard a rumor that the chapters were shot back to back. I don't think that's true, though. I think they waited a year. So I think while Chapter 1 came out, they were going over Chapter 2. I just don't like the intention that you made it seem like she was away from the whole lake house and everything that happened, her boyfriend dying, for 20 plus years. I didn't like that. Like, why are we revisiting this when we already know what's going on? We already know what happened. You don't need to re-explain it. Otherwise, nobody would be in the theater. And when I was looking at theater tickets for this, only 5 seats were taken. It's like, oh, nobody's going to see this movie. So put chapter 3 on streaming, direct to stream. Don't waste your time. Don't try and get a couple bucks. Just put it out on streaming. I said my piece, Strangers chapter 2. Now let's go into some TV, because this past week we got Marvel Zombies. I was talking to you guys about that last week. It was really good. And I'm torn because it was written / directed by Zeb Wells. For those of you who are listening or watching and do not know who Zeb Wells is, Zeb Wells is responsible for one of the worst, if not the worst, character writings in all of Spider-Man. Zeb Wells did the recent 2022 run, and it lasted, I believe, up to about the end of this past year, 2024, or even went into the beginning of 2025. And man, that was just awful. Really, did a lot of character assassinating within the Spider-Man mythos. And to think that he came and he made this, Marvel Zombies, I'm blown away. I'm taken aback. Because how? How do you go from butchering an entire mythos to creating this? I get it. Even my own work, not all of it's going to be a banger. But how do you go from two extremes like that? You go from straight trash to straight banger. I don't get it. Blade Night, though, was my favorite part of this show. And it reassures the viewer, Mahershala ain't going anywhere. Mahershala is still down for this. I mean, they modeled Blade Night after Mahershala. The actor that they picked sounded similar to Mahershala. So that tells me we're still getting Mahershala as Blade. Now, I would love some more news on Moon Knight, so we'll get into that, hopefully, sooner rather than later. Marvel, you listening? I liked how they followed Kamala Khan. I liked how she was a very integral point to the survival of not just the humans, but the extinction of the zombies. This was allegedly supposed to be a movie, but with the inclusion of Spider-Man, they made it a series. Sony, I don't know what you guys are doing. I really hope you guys send them home soon, because none of your movies are working for Spider-Man. And allegedly they want to try and get something else going off the ground, which I say, no. Just focus on what you're doing with MCU. Don't try and split off on your own stuff unless you are finishing Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's been your best work yet. Keep doing that. Or actually, make sure you end this one and with utmost sincerity, make sure it is the best banger you can possibly put out. Otherwise, do not waste our time. Going into another TV show, real quick. Tulsa King. I watched episode 2 and 3 the other day, and I believe episode 2 will be up next week on patreon.com/Brandon Aries. That's why we are plugging our Patreon, patreon.com/Brandon Aries. We are currently doing the Tulsa watch, like I said, as well as some horror movies. So I believe, as the day I'm recording this today, I believe either Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, or I believe there's another movie that we reviewed. But patreon.com/Brandon Aries. I know we have the Mickey Mouse horror movie coming soon. And then we have, I think, Cinderella's Curse. But I might switch it out for a different one. I gotta see. But again, patreon.com/Brandon Aries. Become a free member today. On to another TV show. Gen V from The Boys. I don't know if you guys have been watching season 2, but man, season 2 is another banging take into The Boys universe. I've really been liking how they've been weaving Chance, aka Andre, in the show. You could tell that this is a passion project and that he is still an integral part of it, even with his passing. And I truly adore that as a writer, as a director, because something like that is an unforeseen obstacle to have to work with in a show, a movie, a production, however you want to put it. And they've been doing an immeasurable, splendid job at keeping this show going. Let's go into Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer, I finally saw Infinity Castle. I really liked it. I thought there were times where it felt kind of slow. So that will deduct some points. But allegedly, after this, they're going to do one more movie, not another season. And I think that kind of works out because to have the budget to split this crazy arc finale into episodes, I don't think is very wise. I don't think it'll do very well for the budget. I think just having a big budget film where you can kind of go balls to the wall as much as you can, I think that's the way to go. I think when you have a property as prestigious and as loved that it's become, like Demon Slayer, I think you got to go balls to the wall. And the flashbacks for Infinity Castle, the effects, all had me going. This was. I haven't watched a lot of anime in the last year. And to watch Demon Slayer again, boy, did I feel like a kid again. And boy, did I enjoy this one. So if you're into anime and you like Demon Slayer and you're looking for something to watch Infinity Castle. That was really good. The flashbacks, the character arcs, the characters evolving. You can clearly see it here as stakes are unimaginably high. Either way, I was just very happy that this came out. And I am more than excited for the next movie, where we can maybe see some of the upper moons, more of them be taken down. Because I believe, actually, I was going to talk about spoilers. Actually, the movie's been out since the 12th, and it's going to be October. So I guess I can. But Akaza, his arc and his flashbacks were so damn good, man. And to me, it kind of overshadowed Shinobu's story. But Shinobu's is still one that I feel like needs to be looked at. And obviously, there's a lot more eyes behind Akaza's story because he's fighting Tanjiro, he's fighting Giyu. So I can understand why all the eyes are on Akaza's story. You know, because Tanjiro's fighting him, Giyu's fighting him. Tanjiro is also learning about stuff with his family, stuff with his father, stuff with the quote unquote transparent world. When they started bringing that up, I'm like, yo, Tanjiro's going to start reading Goofy's like a book. No one is going to be able to beat Tanjiro. Like Muzan, you better count your minutes, buddy. Count your days. Because Tanjiro's coming for you. Now, I'm saying all of this, spitting out of my ass, not having any knowledge of the manga. Okay? It's purely spitballing. And I really enjoyed the heck out of this. And I'm so happy I got the chance to see it. If you like Demon Slayer, you like anime movies, or you're just looking for something fun and story driven to watch, go see Infinity Castle. It might not even be in theaters anymore. because anime movies don't last that long. The last topic on our little chink chink is a banger I did not expect. And that is One Battle After Another. Holy, that was good. That was really good. Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Leo strikes again. And I hate that I'm giving him props, but I have to. As a respectful actor, I have to give props to my one of my college professors at William Patterson. So he was talking to me. This was 2020, just before lockdown, maybe like 2 days before lockdown. He talks to the class and we're discussing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he's looking at us and he goes, I loved it. For the first time ever, Leonardo DiCaprio plays his age. Leonardo DiCaprio, for the most part, and I think a lot of you have seen this before, kind of plays like a kid, a little childish. Now, that's not all his roles. I mean, you got Blood Diamond, The Departed, Shutter Island, but there's still other ones. Catch Me If You Can, for instance. I mean, I would even argue The Great Gatsby, where he still acts kind of childish, kind of pure. And then in the last decade, we've seen a difference, a shakeup. He got his Oscar performance in The Revenant. Then you had something like Wolf of Wall Street. You had, what's the other one? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now you've got One Battle After Another. And here he plays somebody who's really washed up. Total schmuck. Okay, totally fried his brain. All right. This guy was part of a revolution. But let's unpack the quote unquote revolution, because it's a very big theme to tackle. Racial purification. When I heard that term, I was like, I had a feeling I knew what this was about. And then I saw it, and then I was like, they said it. I don't like being right about things. I like being wrong, especially in film where you can take me for a ride. If I'm wrong in film, I like to be taken on the ride, proving why I was wrong. Here I was right, and I was all down for the ride to show me why I was right. Because the marketing doesn't really show a lot of that. The marketing just, from the trailer, shows that it's a revolutionary take, and Leo's character is washed up. He's got to try and find his daughter. And that's about it. Obviously, you know that there's certain shady vibes about people, characters in the movie, but it doesn't tell you why they're here. And I think when it's put into the movie, it's really well done. I really don't have any complaints. This was one what the hell, what the F after another, because the pacing is crazy. And it's crazy good at the same time, because the director, as well as the editor, as well as the actors, they're all pieces that are so meticulously put, and others that are meticulously added to either speed up the pace, or there's manipulations and extractions that perfectly slow the pace down, give you some breathing room with what's going on. And here's the thing. It's so crazy that there's not a lot of breathing room. And I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. I think, coupon. I think when it comes down to Leonardo DiCaprio here, bravo. An underrated performance, I would say, was from Regina Hall. I don't think Regina Hall gets enough credit. I feel like here she was really trying to step in where Perfidia wasn't. She was really trying to step in as someone who can look after and take care of Willa. And I think you had seen that kind of vibe from the very beginning because she cares about Bob, Leo's character. She cares about him a lot. And the fact that she's doing so much to ensure the safety of Willa for Bob, to me, that says volumes already. But what do I know? I'm just a movie guy. Sean Penn, oh my God. What a crazy, outlandish, outrageous performance here. Really up the creepy, really up the yuck. Because, bro, when he's just like with Leo, if you didn't know, spoilers by now, they're spoilers, pal. But he goes up to Leonardo DiCaprio in the supermarket, of all places. And he's just like, I got a question for you. And he's doing like all these like mouth things and ticks. And he's like, you like black women? Because I love black women. I was like, yo, I don't even want my groceries anymore. I'm leaving. How you going to say that to me as I'm checking out for my groceries? Hell no. I'm gone. I am uncomfy. that was Sean Penn's character to an extent, to a very large extent. My God. Like, I didn't think this movie was going to hit as hard as it did. And then it's like, wow. Could this get Oscars? Maybe. It's a tough maybe, but it's there. Now, when it comes to if I would want this considered for an Oscar, it makes me wonder who I would want to be considered for an Oscar. I don't feel like Perfidia is deserving of an Oscar here. She had a big stride in the beginning, had a couple flashbacks like throughout the film, and then in the end is like just dialogue with no visual. So I don't really know how I feel about the character of Perfidia. I understand why she is there because it's to have Willa and Bob kind of take, for lack of a better term, or should I say deal with her consequences because she had an interracial relationship with a purist. And what did they call them? They called them like a Santa Claus something. Like it had something to do with Christmas. Like even their meetings were like holiday themed. I was like, what? It was very strange. And I will not try and understand it further. I will let it be interpreted. But man, this was really good. This was very, very good. If you're thinking about going to the theaters either this week, next week, during the week, weekend, with your partner, go see One Battle After Another. That was amazing. That was a ride I will not forget for a while. But we've got some movies coming up, man. We've got Smashing Machine. I believe there's a couple more that are coming. I'm gonna grab my my notebook real quick. So I have like a little. Some people call it a content calendar. I just call it being aware of what movies are coming out soon. October 10th is Tron Ares. So I definitely want to see that. Not for Jared Leto, though. I don't really care for him. Black Phone 2 is coming up soon, as well as Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. We've got the Bruce Springsteen biopic towards the end of October, as well as the Emma Stone possible Oscar submission, Begonia. I believe there's one or two horror movies as well that are coming out that I would like to watch, but we will have to wait and see. In the meantime, I'm really excited for Smashing Machine, pretty excited for Tron Ares. I would like to see the Frankenstein. I believe that's going to be on Netflix. But I don't know if it's the same thing. I don't think it is because I think Maggie Gyllenhaal is working on a production called The Bride, which is like of Frankenstein. And I think that has Christian Bale in it. I would like to see that as well. But I got to get into more scary movies this month. I might do a free watch of some of them, depending. I'll post on socials if I do, and maybe you guys can join in. But remember, there's already some out that you can watch along with me on patreon.com/Brandon Aries. Sign up today, become a free member. I also have a special announcement for Oni. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I have a clothing brand that I co-own with my good buddy Alex. We just dropped our anniversary drop with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So be sure to check it out, onlyoni.com, and use code Aries for 15% off your order. I really like this collection. Alex and I, we went off when we were thinking about this. We were like, because for a while we really wanted to do something for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's an anime that really helped us come together as friends and even influencing our clothing company as we are now. But this was really fun to do. Some of our favorite stands, some of our favorite stand users. So if you're looking for some new merch, some new clothing for this fall, check out onlyoni.com, the only place where you can find the big brother in clothing. Woo-hoo. Trademark TM soon. But I think that's going to do it for our Let's Talk movie this week. Boy, did we have a lot. We had The Strangers Chapter 2. We talked about Marvel Zombies. We talked about a little bit of Tulsa King on patreon.com/Brandon Aries, as well as our Halloween watch-alongs. We talked about One Battle After Another. We talked about Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, Gen V. What a packed episode this week. People? But I think that's going to do it. You guys got 2 reviews this week. Isn't that awesome? I love it. I'm glad I'm able to do this as often as I can for you because this is what I've always wanted to do. So thank you. And I guess I'll leave it off with, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.